Welcome to my channel. This is horror. I heard a knock. My mom opened the fridge to grab some orange juice, but she didn't have any luck finding it. I swear I just bought a new carton of orange juice yesterday, she said to herself, confused as to where it could be. We had moved into this house less than 2 weeks ago, and the fridge was still a bit of a mystery to her. She'd only been in it a handful of times, so she wasn't all that familiar with its quirks yet. Maybe it's in the back, I suggested from the doorway. I walked into the kitchen to see what was going on. My mom always got lost in thought whenever she couldn't find something, so I figured I might as well help out. Sometimes it took her a while to find whatever it was she was looking for, and there was always a small chance that we actually did buy something on a given day that I just was unaware of. And if that was the case, then I knew the search would end soon. But if not, well, then she'd get frustrated and eventually just stop looking. That's what happened when she was trying to find the Tupperware. The Tupperware situation had been going on for weeks, but thankfully it appeared to be coming to an end. So I went to the fridge to take a look. It was fairly empty. We hadn't put anything in it the night before, because none of us were home. We'd all been out at a friend's house for a dinner party. It had been a lot of fun, but I was glad to be back home now. Mom wasn't really hungry. She was just thirsty. Now that I was up close, I could see that she was looking at one of the shelves with annoyance. It was curved and made out of glass, which was weird, like why wouldn't they make it flat? Anyway, that was where the orange juice would go. "It's not back here," Mom said after a minute of searching. "And I know it's not under here." She pointed to a bag of frozen vegetables hiding in the corner. It was a big bag, like it had way too many vegetables in it. Mom never bought stuff like this, so it must have been Dad. He was always trying to eat healthy, or at least he tried to convince himself that he was. In reality, he just liked veggies because he liked chewing on them during work. That's why there was always this huge bag of frozen spinach in his office. "Let's just check everywhere else," I said. We started at the bottom shelf and worked our way up. There was nothing on the bottom save for a plate of leftovers. It was a pretty good-sized plate, like the kind you'd get at a restaurant. But these were our leftovers. There's nothing wrong with that, except that we hadn't eaten dinner at a restaurant. These leftovers must have been from takeout. None of us remembered ordering takeout. I pushed the plate to the back of the shelf without saying anything. It was a little creepy seeing food in here that I didn't recognize. It felt like this place was watching us, waiting for us to move in so it could finally come alive. So the next shelf held more of the same. A whole bunch of frozen vegetables and a plate of food. The food this time was a soup. I recognized it as tomato soup, but I also knew that none of us bought it. It was an off-brand, and it didn't look right. Like I knew for a fact that if we had bought this soup, we would have finished it by now. I stuck my nose in the air. This was getting weird. I don't like being creeped out by my own fridge. We looked on the top shelf, but there was nothing there other than a bunch of random condiments. They weren't ours, but they didn't look like the neighbors either. I mean, how many of us would keep mustard and mayonnaise in the fridge anyway? The fridge didn't have a freezer compartment, which was weird. But there was a drawer below the shelves. Mom opened it, and inside were even more plates of food. None of it looked fresh. It all looked like it had been sitting there for a long time. I saw pizza, some spaghetti, and meatballs, a chicken parmesan, and a pork chop. The pork chop looked like it had been cooked yesterday. The rest of it looked like it had been sitting there for months. I closed the drawer slowly and backed away. "This isn't funny anymore," Mom said. She sounded scared now. To be honest, I was starting to get freaked out myself. I didn't want to stick around to find out who left all this food in our fridge. I ran to the door, yanked it open, and turned off the light. I didn't want to leave, but I was too scared to stay. I hesitated for a second, then I ran out. I found my dad in the backyard. He was standing by the grill with a beer in his hand. "Dad, you gotta come see something," I said. I grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the back door. I shoved it open with my shoulder and asked him to come in. I showed him the fridge, but he didn't seem all that surprised by it. "Oh yeah," he said after a minute of silence. Someone left this here when we bought the house." He explained that whoever the previous owner was, they had a bunch of stuff in the fridge when they moved out. My dad had taken most of it out, but he had left some of it in there as placeholders, just so that he could remember what kind of food he might want to buy. But he swore that this was the first time that he'd seen all of this food. He opened the fridge and grabbed the soup. It was cold, but he brought it in anyway. "You guys are going to love this," he said with a smile. After he heated it up, we all sat down at the table to eat. The soup was okay. It wasn't nearly as good as Campbell's, but it wasn't bad for store brand. After we finished eating, my dad took out the trash, which is when he noticed the plates from our leftovers. He looked at me, then at Mom, then back at the plates. "Who ordered this?" he asked. I shrugged. "I don't know," I said. "Did you order this?" he asked again. This time he was looking at me. I shook my head. "No, I didn't." My dad dropped the plates in the trash can and slammed the lid shut. "Great," he said. "Just great." He walked away and went back outside. Later that night I heard a knock. It was a light knock, like someone knocking on the side of the fridge. I told myself it was probably just the pipes or something. You know, houses make noises. Sometimes those noises sound like knocks. But then I heard another knock, and then another. What? They were slow and steady, and they seemed to be coming from inside the fridge. I got up to investigate, but before I could reach the kitchen, the knocking stopped. Maybe I was just imagining things. Knocking sounds, frozen food. It was bound to happen at some point. When I tell this story to people, they always laugh and say that I'm making it up. But I know what I heard that night. I knew it wasn't just pipes, or I knew it was someone or something trying to get out of the fridge. I tried telling my dad again, but he just rolled his eyes and went back to watching TV. According to him, it was just the pipes. Mom stayed silent, but I could tell that she believed me. She still doesn't say much when we talk about it, but sometimes she gives me a look that tells me that she knows I'm telling the truth. A few days later, I opened the fridge to get some water, and I found a new carton of orange juice. It was the exact brand and size that Mom had been looking for. It was a good thing, too, because she had already started to lose her mind looking for it. But I knew that I didn't put it there, so now I'm starting to think that maybe that was no accident. I hope you enjoyed that story. If you want to hear more, then please follow for more content. I will see you next time.